to realize our need for God, to make time to spend alone time with Him, that we wouldn't need a priest or a preacher because God gave us a Savior, that gave us access to a Father, that when we submit to a process, not of our making, but of His, we can be initiated as men into true masculinity, that we can be led by Him so we learn how to lead, that we can be loved by Him so we learn how to love. This is Ponds and Beavers. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in again, listening, taking the time for these pondcasts. Man, today I wanted to, well, not me, really, honestly, it's really God. I wasn't even planning on recording today. He was showing me about how fear and doubt can tend to be the focus of, our defenses. And we can tend to rebuke fear and doubt, as if they're the enemy, the antagonist. And what's ironic and so sneaky of our real enemy, how our real enemy can use something like fear and doubt, is it can almost distract us at times and have us harbor the real enemy, which in a lot of cases can sometimes be narrowed down to one simple thing, and it's pain that we carry from wounds that were inflicted upon us. Whether it was from all the way back from when we were children and what we experienced in our childhood, or something that just happened recently, or an offense that even if it was self-inflicted because of what we're believing or assuming about someone, or regardless of their intentions, it's still pain that we're carrying. The example God gave me was a refrigerator, and let's say we go and put some leftovers in the fridge that we're gonna eat the next day. And we've all done this, where the leftovers sit like after a few days, and then the thought of 3 or 4 day old leftovers, it makes us want to just usually kind of throw it out, or maybe pick at it a little bit and throw it out. Well, what if those leftovers were left in there a whole year? That was kind of the example he gave me, was they were left in the fridge for a whole year, an entire year. And man, after a year, even after a week, you can pop open, unless it's got like a bunch of preservatives in it, but let's say it's like a homemade meal. You pop it open, and man, there's usually like a bunch of mold that's grown in there and stuff. And after a year, the picture I got when I was writing that down was like a small little forest in the fridge, right? And that's what God was kind of showing me, was that after you put that food in there, it's its own thing. It's in a container, right? Well, after a year, it almost becomes a part of the fridge. And what he was showing me was that that's what happens when we don't deal with pain and don't deal with certain wounds or things that we're carrying in our heart that came from pain, a wound, when they're not tended to, or when they're neglected, or even unintentionally. It doesn't mean we intentionally want to just walk around with a bunch of wounds, no, but nonetheless, walking around with sometimes gaping open wounds, still bleeding, still fresh, even though they may have been from our childhood. And what we call triggers. Oh, well, I get triggered sometimes by certain things. Well, you know what? Why we get triggered so easily? It's because of that pain, because of that wound causing us pain. And so it makes us weak and vulnerable. And so the refrigerator, he showed me the example of, it's like when we put food in the fridge and leave it for a year, that food is no longer just the food by itself. It's now become a part of the of the refrigerator. And what he was showing me is that that's what will happen with that pain and those wounds that we carry is it becomes a part of us. And that's what you see when you look around in your life and the triggers that you may carry or you may have, where it doesn't take much for your wife to say something, or it doesn't take much for your kids, or for, even a friend or a coworker, or some guy just driving on the road, and it doesn't take much, and then boom, all of a sudden it's this trigger that happens. The trigger itself is exposing and revealing the cause, and it's revealing this pain or this wound that we're carrying. And that's the real enemy. That's the real enemy. What does that have to do with fear and doubt? Well, fear and doubt are mere symptoms. They are mere symptoms. Just like the mold that would accumulate on the food left there for a year, right? We tend to treat fear and doubt as entities, as full-blown enemies, just on an all-out attack on us, as if they care, as if they have feelings of their own, as if, and fear and doubt, we give too much credit for the choices that we are making. For instance, if we don't feed our dog, then he'll starve. There's a consequence for that. If we don't feed our chickens, they'll first stop laying eggs and then they'll starve. If we don't feed ourselves, if we don't take care of ourselves, there's a consequence for that. And we underestimate, again, the power of our choices. And again, just like fear and doubt, or just like the refrigerator example, leaving food in there and it growing mold, and we can't look at that mold and say, mold, I rebuke you, in the name of, no, that's not how it works. Instead, we should have a thought of, man, if we don't get this food out of the fridge after it being in there a year, it's going to start taking over our house. It's going to take over our kitchen. And then it's going to take over, we've all seen those apocalyptic type movies. The same thing happens where it's been like 10 years after 20 years after the whatever happened, the apocalyptic event. And it's the same thing. There's all this overgrowth, right? If that's even a word, overgrowth. But where nature is just taking over the city or the town or whatever it is. There's kind of weeds and grass and moss, and everything's kind of growing out of the cars and the buildings, and that's what would happen. Man, if we don't take this food out and deal with this real issue, then it's gonna slowly, overgrow into places that it's not supposed to be. And that's what fear and doubt will do. Imagine if it's from your childhood, that food has been sitting and festering for, 20 years, 30, 40, however old you are, I am. It's been sitting there a long time, right? And it's no wonder some of the most broken people that we've met, or including ourselves, some of the most broken areas in my life have been from childhood. And it's because what I experienced, the pain and the wound, has festered like food in that fridge and been left there unattended. And when God revealed that, I remember being on a bed back in college, and he was revealing just this pain that I had endured and gone through as a child from some traumatic experiences at school. And I just began to weep, and it shocked me because it came out of nowhere. But that's how real that wound was. That's how real that pain is, and what it can do, and the power of that pain. And so anyways, all that to say, what God really put on my heart heavy today, showing me and then wanting me to also share with you guys, is how fear and doubt we give too much credit to. The last thing I wanted to mention, and I'll end with this, is so I'm a pilot, and being a pilot, you depend immensely on your instruments, right? It's strange, but you can't always depend on what you see around you. Sometimes you can't see much anyways. your instruments are a huge deal, all that to say. And what he showed me, and please don't take this out of context of fear and doubt almost being harmless. But what he was showing me, the context of it was fear and doubt being almost like a thermometer, right? In a room. You set up a thermometer and it's going to tell you the temperature of the room, or a thermostat, right? Being able to actually set the temperature for the room. Well, in an airplane, it's the same thing. Got an altimeter that's showing you your altitude, or another instrument showing you, according to the horizon, what degree to which you're banking, right? Your wings. These instruments tell you different information, how fast you're going, of course, and stuff. But what they're doing is, for instance, if you're in a nosedive and somehow you're unaware of it and you look down at your instrument and it's telling you the horizon's way above you, because of that, you can't look at that instrument and say, "Oh, how dare you, cause me to nosedive, and I rebuke you right now in the name of..." No. That's not how it works, right? You do that, you're going to crash. Why? Because that instrument isn't your enemy, right? It might be revealing something negative, and it might even seem like it's fighting you because you're trying to correct, you're trying to operate, the airplane to correct that and to level off, and it's not working. Well, maybe it's not working because your airplane's broken. Maybe you lost control of, I don't know, a rudder, or you lost control of some important part of the airplane, right? Because it got damaged. Well, what was I talking about? Pain. Pain from what? Pain from a wound. Well, a wound is damage. So if there's a part of you that's been damaged, right? And now you're weak and vulnerable to that, and when those thoughts of fear and doubt come and tempt you to agree with them, you're susceptible now. Why? Because you're damaged, right? Oh, well, we're not damaged. We're, made whole, and we've been born again, and well, I don't know. Including myself, of course, knowing myself, and then meeting as many believers and Christians who have hurt me, or I've seen hurt others because they are damaged. I've seen the proof otherwise, that just because we're children of God, just because we are believers and Christians, and we love God, and we've agreed to that covenant that He restored so that we could have with Him now, and have that open relationship with Him. That doesn't, it's not magic. Like I said, back in college, God revealing that, it was God who revealed it, but He still had to reveal it. Why? Because I was currently living damaged, and He wanted to fix that area, as He's fixed and is still going to fix other damaged parts of me, right? We are that airplane. And so that instrument telling us that something's wrong isn't necessarily bad. It's instead revealing something like a thermostat, saying, hey, it's getting kind of hot in the house. Why don't you lower the temperature and fix that problem? When we allow God to expose and lead us to healing parts of our heart and those wounds, it's like cleaning out that refrigerator, right? It's like cleaning it out. Doesn't matter if God doesn't care if that food's been sitting there for 50 years. He doesn't care. 40 years. He doesn't care if it's been sitting there for 1,000 years. He's gonna want to do what anybody would want to do with food that's been left in the fridge and it's molding and stinking. He's gonna want to take care of it, throw it out, bag it up in a couple bags so it doesn't stink up your trash can, throw it away, for Pete's sake, and get it out of the house, and you know what I mean? That's what He's wanting to do. And fear and doubt can sometimes, I would dare to say all the time, be indicators of some deeper thing that's actually making us vulnerable and weak, right? Because God tells us that He didn't give us fear and doubt. He gave us instead the power of our testimony, right? The love from Him of what real love is, right? And a sound mind, which means a clear refrigerator, right? That we would not base choices on fear. Oh, fear of we don't have the money, or fear of finances, or, fear of the future. Oh, well, I'm overwhelmed because I have so much to do or so much to get done. Or, you name it, man. We are sometimes puppeted by fear and doubt, but we give fear and doubt too much credit. So anyways, all I have to say, the real encouragement is this, that when we allow God to use fear and doubt, as he allows fear and doubt to expose certain parts of our heart that might need to be exposed, right? I need to know if I'm nosediving into the ground. I need to know if I'm banking at too steep of an angle, because I could stall the airplane and lose control, and then I could crash. I need to know that, and that instrument is going to show me that, right? That me snapping at my wife or my kids, it should be a stark indicator that, hold on, I think there's something going on that's deeper than just me blaming my external circumstances for being in a bad mood or something, or blaming my wife for my kids or this and that. No, sometimes these indicators can reveal something deeper going on, and sure enough, man, I'll go and spend time with God, or I'll go and just get alone and with my thoughts and begin to journal and again talking to God about it. And spending time with God really is powerful in what it can do, and man, him just revealing something that either I knew and just didn't want to, I didn't want to deal with the food. Oh, I'll get to the leftovers tomorrow, and that tomorrow turns into next week. Or, him just basically showing me something that kind of, shocked me, that, oh man, I didn't even realize that this was affecting me that much, that this in my life was a reoccurring type of pain, right? That I need to deal with, right? Again, just God showing you, hey, there's food in there. I'm telling you, after that, fear, doubt, unbelief, faithlessness, you go down the list, right? Not the antagonist. The antagonist all along was that pain or that wound. And all fear and doubt did was come in like bullies, and kind of poke at it, right? But if we'll let it, just like pain, right? The good thing about pain in our body is it lets us know when something's wrong. That's God with us. So I hope that encourages you, and let's again continue, including me. We all need to make time, right, to get away and get alone with God. Let's continue to live that way. All right, guys.